All right. Welcome back to the Up Your Confidence podcast, the destination podcast for female listeners seeking to build their self esteem for maximize leadership skill and enhance performance at work and in life. All right. Today we are excited Today we are excited to today we are excited to be here for another episode. Our goal is to equip, empower, elevate, and enhance confidence in women all over the world. We aim to inspire you to leverage your confidence as the key ingredient to reaching your God-given full potential. This is season 5, so we are going there. We are going into topic that matter most to you. For years people have asked me to talk about love and marriage, and I have been against it. Actually, I have been against talking about love and marriage, but after a lot of reflection and realizing that I'll be celebrating 15 year this year of matrimony, I felt like maybe I know a thing or two about marriage. At least I feel like I'm a teenager, right, in this marriage game. As I mentioned last year when we were celebrating our 14-year anniversary. So it's time, I felt like a little bit, it's time to share my journey, my insight on finding and maintaining a love connection. Okay, you probably think this is a different episode, so stay tuned. This is gonna be juicy. I just know this is gonna be juicy because the reason why, to be truthful, I have been super reluctant, If you know anything about me, you know that I'm a knowledge broker. I mean, every time I find something that is good and working for me, I cannot wait to share it. And that's the case with Black Girl Vitamin. I have been dealing with a lot of personal health since 2 months ago, and I'm lacking my vitamin D. My cholesterol is high. My sleep is not well. So some of my joints are hurting me, and just I need my skin to look beautiful. And I have been taking some pills here and there. Then I stumbled upon Black Vitamin after I came back from one of my women conference. Then I love it. I order my pack. Within a week, I could see the difference. I could see my energy. I could see the glow. So I really want to tell you, get into Black Vitamin. I'm getting my vitamin D from them. I'm getting my collagen from them. I'm getting my cholesterol from them. I'm getting my SEMA from them for energy and to boost my immune system. I could not be any happier. And again, woman owned, Black brand. That's what we love on the Up Your Confidence podcast. So get into it. Use the link below here and get into Black Girl Vitamin. It's going to change your game. It's going to make you happy. It's going to make you glow. Thank you. To talk about love is because my version or my thought around what love means is a little bit different than most people. So let's get started. All right, finding your love, right? Before you find love, you must love yourself, okay? There you go again. There we started already in the right direction, right? You gotta love yourself. You cannot give what you don't have, pretty much. So start by working on yourself. Know who you are, what make you happy, and what truly you desire in a partner. And in the first chapter of my Up Your Confidence book that is coming soon, I talk about know that self. So everything you have to do when we're talking about confidence, you have to know yourself, because a lot of things happen because we don't know ourselves. We don't know what we want. We don't know what make us happy. Because if you can't make yourself happy, how can somebody else make you happy? It's just that basic. But we miss a lot of that usually. So if someone asks you, what you like, you should be able to answer with confidence, okay? People are often curious about my love story, but I never set out to be in a relationship, really. It was not on my North Star. You know how, like, you have goal in life? It was not a goal for me. It was just like, I was now walking toward that. But one of my guiding principles has always been, if I don't feel value or appreciate in a relationship, I will leave. And it's always been that way every time. Love should feel like a mutual burning desire to enjoy each other, not a struggle. And if dating is painful, if you feel disrespected or undervalued, girlfriend or boyfriend, it's time to move on. And that's always been my thing. You should not be struggling in a relationship, struggle to feel value or struggle to be respected. That's like the base. That's the baseline of any relationship. So if you have a type, I've never had a type. I never did. My type of man is whoever value or respected me. Period. That. Okay? Because it has, for me, it's the core. If you value me, you respect me, we game. My top priority were enter. So, but I still have some top priority, because just gotta have preference. It's like when you go to a even to an ice cream. I have not have ice cream in the longest time. I just had ice cream this weekend, and I have my preferences, right? You have flavor that you like, so you gotta have preferences. My top priority were intellectual curiosity, because I really like somebody that can just have a smart conversation. I mean, one of those people, if you open your mouth and you are not being smart, it just turned me off. Generosity, somebody that is very generous. I don't like people that are stingy, it just put me off. And then ambitions, I like somebody that is super ambitious. They have goal, they have drive, they have place they want to go. They just have a vision about their future. And a deep faith in God. Yes. Amen. And the deep faith in God is not the last on the list. It's actually the number one thing. But, as we say in it, and for me, if I just know wholeheartedly that a man who doesn't believe in a higher power may not have the moral compass that will hold him accountable, because I am not going to get in a relationship with somebody and be fighting to make him believe in the most basic thing. That's just not. And that's never been the case. So that's why a God-fearing man was on top of the list. So for me, they have to be God-fearing. That's just the most basic thing. So a lot of people like to talk about the Ciara prayer, right? But I crafted my own Lisette prayer. And I'll tell you a little story, because story is always a good way to connect to the situation. So in 2005, after a devastating heartbreak, I decided to start dating casually with no long-term intention. Like, I don't care, just do whatever. But that left me feeling empty and disconnected quickly, So quickly, it was not me. It was like the kids say these days, it was not for me. It was not meant for me to be dating casually. Quickly, I felt like it was not my thing. So, but that left me feeling empty and disconnected. So at the beginning of 2006, I did a 40-day fast. If you follow this podcast, I've talked about several times doing a 40-day reset fast, in detox and all that, being in solitude and just listening to yourself and listening to God. So in one of those 40-day fasts that I did in 2006, so I've been at this for the longest time. I did a 40-day fast and I asked God to remove all the distraction. Distraction meaning like guys that just waste your time, they just want to waste your energy. There's just energy vampire. Remove, I call it distraction back then, and send me the right person, and I'm willing to wait for as long as possible for the right person, because I got things to do. So I'm not have timing to be wasting with this vampire. Just send me the right person, God, and maybe one day I'll have my podcast about how I talk to God, my conversation with God. There's actually a book about conversation. So that could be. So my team, take a note. We need to have a podcast about Lisette conversation with God, because I've been having some good conversation with God. So I was like, take me out of this distraction situation. Send me people that are worth my time. So the fast ended actually on March 23rd of that year. And 2 days later, I met the man who will become my husband today. Bam, right? So there's a power in prayer. Definitely, there's power in prayer. But don't copy someone else's prayer. That's where you people, you out there in the stressful fear, get it lost. Everybody wants the Ciara prayer. And as soon as I'm going to say, everybody's going to say, whenever I share this story to people, they're like, oh, what did you ask God? No, what do you need to ask God? There's a power in prayer, but don't copy someone's prayer. Ask for what is meant for you, because only you know what you need at this certain moment. Don't just go by the flow. Go by like, oh, if they ask me, I'm gonna say yes. It doesn't work that way. You go with what you want. You gotta go and sit down with yourself in solitude and realize that things are not working for you, and that you need a higher power, and ask for what you need. If you don't know, then ask in a way where God will bring it to you, but you need to know a little bit of something. Okay? All right. I told you this is going to be a juicy podcast, so it's already started hot. After that, you got to master the match, and I've talked about this master the match a lot. And as someone that is a natural matchmaking ability, I think I did a speech last year at a conference actually, where I was talking about matchmaking, and that's a new speech that I'm doing at conference now. So I am an expert matchmaker because of pattern recognition, and because of how I am very analytical. I can quickly realize how two people match, in a good or a bad way. But I'm a matchmaker. So I had to learn how to but then when you're a matchmaker, and I remember I used to watch this lady back then, I forgot her name, but she's a great matchmaker, but she doesn't have a partner herself, because when you're a matchmaker, you have to recognize also a match for yourself. So you have to look within to find the right match for yourself, which I think I did. So how do you recognize the right partner? Key principle for evaluating a potential partner. Yes, we need to say it, because you're going to be like, oh, Lisette, what is it? Because people do ask me. So I need to come here and tell you, this is my approach. Key principle for evaluating a potential partner. First of all, be busy working on yourself. Don't be out there just thirsty, like we say now. There's so many new words these days that did not exist when I was in the dating game 20 years ago. Okay, I'm not trying to make myself look old. I look pretty young, but don't be thirsty. That's what the kids say these days, right? Be busy working on yourself. When I met my husband, I was in graduate school working full-time and writing my thesis. I did not have time to chase anyone. This meant I only entertain men who truly value my time. Exactly. You be so busy about your own life, about your own success, about your own future, that when a man come in your life, he need to know that you are so busy in a trajectory that if you need to match your energy, match your vibe before you can align, But don't be, and you will see later on how I'm gonna explain that. Don't just be the one that is like, oh, I'm here for you. No, be about yourself, and then the right person will get attracted to you. The second thing is look for consistency. For me, that's a core thing. It might not be, but I think it's important. I gave him, for instance, my boyfriend back then, I gave him a time to call me, and he respected that time every single time. I told him, and I think I've mentioned that in other podcasts or in other, things like this, that I told him to call me between I think 7 and 10 every day, because what happened was I was going to graduate school and working full time. So literally my schedule was like 8 to 8, maybe 10, no, 8 to 5, a full time job, and then from 7 to 9 for my graduate classes sometime, or sometimes I have class in the day. So I'll come home every time at 9. So I say you can come between 9 and midnight. That's it. That's the time that I have. And on the weekend you can call me, or you can call me on Saturday from 3 to 10 or something. So but I gave him like literally a time frame, and he was consistent. If you call me another time, it's not because we're dating that my time is your time. No, you have to respect yourself enough to ask people to demand people to respect you. I listen for attentiveness, you know. I'll mention things, pay attention to people that listen for attentiveness. You know, if a partner is really interested in you, they will pay attention to everything that come to your mind, to come out of your mouth. So I will mention things that I like and will remember them and act on them. Like I will say, oh, I like this piece of jewelry or something. You know, my love language is gift and act of service. So I'm always throwing things that I like, things that I would like to do, and he will vibe it, or he will match that what I'm asking. You know, another thing that I think like is super important is test your standard. You know how when people meet in a date and it's like, what kind of man are you looking for? And then you also sit there and give them a list like, I want all this. No, don't just tell them what you want. Observe their natural action. You know, let's say for instance, you say you want a God-fearing man. So don't come over there and say, I'm looking for a God-fearing man that go to church Monday to Friday. No. Now, this dude is going to be going to church Monday to Friday just to please you. That's not what you want. If you tell him you want a God-fearing man, he might pretend to just be one. Watch his character speak itself. Watch how, if you want somebody generous, watch how he deal with people at the restaurant. Watch how he doesn't cut people in traffic. Like, watch him in action. Those are way for you to know that he is not the one. Watch him how he order food in the restaurant. Is he stingy? Like, oh, this is so expensive, I don't know if I can eat that. Like, he can't spend his own money. How is he gonna spend it on you? Watch those kind of things. Those are things that you have to watch instead of just being lovey-dovey and being blind. Love should feel easy, not forced. If you constantly have to convince someone to be with you, they are not the one. Love comes naturally. It should not be a battle. Okay? Now, this is going to be the controversial part. There got to be a controversial part in the podcast. When someone will, why some women will never find a match. Let's talk about it a little bit, because not everybody is meant to find a match, and the match that you find is going to be based on your growth level. This is something that I just realized lately. If you have not grown to where you need to be, you will never attract the right person that will match you. If you are, it's almost like you are level 3 in growth journey, and you're trying to, but your wish list is level 5. No, baby girl, you're not gonna match them. You gotta grow to level 5 so you can attract people that are level 5 or above. And we'll talk about that later in the podcast. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Too excited about this topic, I guess, because the thing is, I've been wanting to do this topic even though I have not want to be doing it. I've been knowing about things to say, but full transparency, I just didn't want to be vulnerable about my own love story. One, because I just feel like, okay, it's not luck, it's just something that is super personal, right? But second thing is also is like feeling like people saying, oh, you think your story is so amazing and you want to share, but it's not that. Everybody have their own story, but maybe you can learn something from my story, or from my strategy, or from my way of thinking about love, and that might just help somebody. I just came to the realization that maybe I need to share a little bit more so people can just understand how you can successfully navigate this thing. That's what it is, really. That's what it is. So take everything that I'm saying from my personal perspective. Take it even with a grain of salt. You don't even have to believe everything that I'm saying. Maybe there might be some part that will connect with you. Maybe there might be some part that will put you off. You'll be like, oh, Lisette, no way. I'm sure of that. No way. Because even when I talk with my friend at lunch or at dinner, and I tell them my thinking about how they should manage their love situation or find connection, they always open their eyes like, you think that way? I'm like, baby girl, yes, I think that way. So why some women will never find a match? Let's talk about it, because this might be helping you. It's almost like the in technology, when I'm coaching team, I usually tell them what you are doing, why your team is not being successful, is we call it anti-pattern. These are anti-pattern of love connection, a match, and these are things that you're doing that will never lead you to actually find a connection. This is just real, and some of them might be like ouch, ouch to you, and if it's ouching you and it's making you feel some kind of way, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. That means you are being self-aware of your situation, and then now you can change, because the first step of change is being self-aware. So this is almost like putting a mirror and say, if you are doing any kind of this, watch out, get out of it, and change. And hopefully we talk about how to change also in this podcast. I know this is going to be long. This might even be a 2-part, because I have a lot to say, because I'm just going to say it in one episode. We're going to move on to other topic better, because love is not the only thing that we need to up our confidence. It's just that I realize that when some of women, they don't accept the situation. Like if you're a woman and you are single, that might be something that is also impacting your confidence. Or if you are a woman that have been divorced, that might be something that have impacted your confidence. So love is always at the center of your confidence build, confidence grow. So that's the reason. If you asking yourself, listen, why are we talking about love on the Up Your Confidence podcast? Because love is at the center of a lot of things that we deal with that block our confidence, or that erode our confidence, or that impact our confidence. So I realize that, and I also realize that when you have confidence in yourself, you are attractive to men. You know, men love women that are confident. Okay, men, human being, love people that are confident. Human being are attract to somebody that is confident. Period, and that. So why would a podcast that's talking about confidence shouldn't bring it up? You know, because if you are confident, you're gonna attract love to you like a fly on a candy. Okay, keep it moving. Why some women will never find their match? Here's some way women struggle finding love. People pleasing. People pleasing. Men like it at first. Men like women that are people that are people pleasing, but they get bored with it. You know. So be authentic. Now, if your natural nature is being people pleasing, be people pleaser, but tame it down. Work on yourself so you are not a people pleaser. Lack of ambition. If you have nothing going for yourself, you become a burden instead of a partner, because we're talking about partnership. You know, I'm going to be doing a lot of demo in this episode, and don't look at my nails because it's not good this time. I'm going to the salon right after this podcast taping, but I'm going to be doing a lot of demo in this podcast, so just pay attention to this 2 pen. But what we are saying here is, when there's a lack of ambition, you are no longer in partnership, because one partner is not ambitious. Nobody like to be with somebody that have nothing going for themselves. I'm sorry. And nothing going for yourself has nothing to do with your money, your situation, your education. It's just when you wake up in the morning, what you doing? Where are you going? What are you walking toward? That's what we call ambition. Unrealistic expectation. Oh my God. This should be like an entire podcast. And that's what I was talking about earlier. I was even talking about it based on the growth level, right? But even just on a basic level, if you're asking for quality you don't possess, or experience you haven't worked toward, you are setting yourself for failure. Like you want, oh, like this is the new thing with the girls now. I want to be flown now. Sister girl, you want to be flown out, but you don't even have a passport. You've never been anywhere. How are you going to be flown out? Are you going to meet the guy now and he's going to buy you a passport and then you're going to travel? Or what are we doing? You know? Or you want to go to a 5-star restaurant or 5-star hotel. You never check in a 5-star hotel yourself. You know? Your daddy, and we're going to have a whole podcast about daddy issue. Your daddy never sent you to a 5-star hotel. but you want to. And this is not to say that we should not be dreaming about being something, but what we have not told women is don't expect a man to be the one making you go through experiences. Don't expect or wait for a man to level you up. Be on your way to the level up situation, and that's when you're gonna meet a man. That's what I was giving earlier. Be on your way. Go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, and then when you're at level 3, you're gonna start matching with level 5 guys. That's just what it is. Don't ask me what is level 1, level 2, or level 5. I don't know. It's different for everybody. Okay? Low self-worth. Okay? So this is where this podcast come into play, right? If you don't believe in your own greatness, why will somebody believe in it? Lack of confidence. You gotta have confidence in your career, in your goal, in your self-worth. Self-worth natural attract quality partner. That's what I was mentioning earlier, and we're gonna spend more on 10 reasons why someone might struggle to find a match. Lack of confidence is definitely one of the reasons, right? Lack of confidence is definitely one of the reasons. Fear of vulnerability. And for me, that was one of my reason, right? Past heartbreak or emotional wound can make it very difficult to open up, preventing deep, genuine connection. So if you have like a lot of fear of vulnerability, you don't want to connect, you're going to open up, and for me, that's what was happening, because I was in a huge breakup, 1 or 2 years prior, and it was very difficult for me to connect with people, so I had fear of connecting again because of those emotional wounds, right? So if you have that, try to work on yourself, try to heal so you can open up, because what the other person did has nothing to do with the new person. So you have to make a boundary and cut and heal, really, and cut your losses on the other situation so you can heal effectively. Setting for less than you desire. Oh my God. Especially nowadays, women are just compromising on the red flag. Like, you meet the guy, he doesn't meet your standard, there's a bunch of red flag. But because society is telling you that you should be married, you should have a partner, your biological clock might be ticking, you're just setting up for less than you deserve. A couple of years later, things are happening. So lowering your standard in an effort to avoid loneliness can attract partners that are truly not compatible. True, that's the problem. And this is another one. Over-reliance on external validation. You constantly seeking approval from others. That can cloud your inner voice, and lead you in a way that you don't recognize your true worth. So these are the people where, when they meet a guy, they need a friend to check on them and see, what do you think? What do you think? Or they need to tell their mama, they need to tell their sister. It's okay. You have to make sure that your people like your partner. That's not a problem. I'm not against that. But you have to have an innate desire to connect with this partner. And the check-in with your sister or your mom is just a second approval, but it's not the main approval, Like, you need to know, and these are all, like, when I'm coaching people, right, or when I'm talking to people, because now what I decide to do is I'm not talking to people if they're not asking me anymore. For the longest time, I think I talk about this on this podcast, right? Because when you have a natural ability to just solve problem, which is what a coach is, or advise people and friends and family, they don't take that as coaching. They just want to use that information, and they don't even want to take that information because they're not taking it seriously. And they even rather go pay somebody outside. They will tell them the exact same thing you're telling them. But because it's their friend Lisette telling them, they're not. So now when friends are asking me for advice, or they're lurking and want to ask, like, I should advise them, I just say, I'm not going to coach you. If you want me to coach you, let me know, and then we're going to have a coaching conversation, because there's no point. Because if your friend is a coach, this is their day job. This is what I do for a living. I coach people, they pay me. So, but this is the thing that I usually see, either when I'm coaching somebody, and I've coached people before in their marriage, because when you are a coach, and you are a life coach or a career coach or confidence coach like me, you might be talking to somebody about confidence, but then during the conversation, you realize that the problem is the lack of confidence is showing up in the relationship. The lack of confidence is showing up in their career. It's blocking them from growing their career. The lack of confidence is showing them in the family issue, Because when you don't have confidence or you don't have self-worth, you see everything they're doing that to me. Nobody's doing anything to you. Nobody's doing anything to you. You're doing it to yourself because you are allowing that to happen. So sometimes you see that it's the over reliance on external validation. They have not. So then you got to diagnose. That's why I'm able to tell you this 10 anti-pattern. And I'm going to make sure I repeat it. So if you take a note, we're also going to have it in the show note as bold and everything so that you can see them, right? But if you are relying, you have this 10 anti-pattern. What I do is I realize these are the 10 anti-pattern that is happening based on this love situation, right? And then we go back now and see how can we help you. And how can you help you is just might be simply believe in yourself. Chapter 1, believe in yourself first of all. Because when you don't believe in yourself, golly, that's the reason why you're actually asking your mom, your sister, your baby daddy, your baby daddy to tell you if you think the new guy is good for you. But he was not good for you. He was not your baby daddy that you used to date, that you have kids with, and you guys are just in relationship because of your kids. Now you meet a new guy that is willing to love you fresh and new, and you're going to say, meet my baby daddy and talk to him so he can see that, if you're going to be compatible with me. Yes, women do that. And the reason why, because she's like, oh, my baby daddy know me and he know what I don't like and what I like. So maybe if you talk to the guy, your baby daddy is not your brother. He's not your dad. So for me, that's already a lack of even understanding yourself. So maybe you should just leave the baby daddy alone, leave the new guy alone, and go find yourself. Go spend some 40 days in solitude. Go do some journaling, Go. Now I'm giving you all the keys in this episode, but go find yourself first. And in the finding yourself, there's also some unpeeling and some development that we have to do. Some of you have not read a book in like the last time you left college. You have not read a book. Maybe and some of you, let's talk about that too. Some of you, the only book you have read is the Bible. Yes, the Bible is good. I read it quite often, But there's other things that are not in the Bible that you also need to know. Even about marriage, you need to learn about marriage. You need to learn every subject that you want. There's information out there. But some of you are not interested in the intellectual, growth of yourself. You are mostly just interested in the day-to-day, or just watching Rihanna or watching Sierra and say, I want that. Instead of trying to look internal and finding who you are and then match it with who you need to connect with. That's just that simple. It's just that simple. And when you come in my academies, CSI Academy, and you come and I coach you, and I've been talking about that we're going to have already the recession-proof masterclass, but I also have another coaching program. And I coach people on a one-on-one basis. If you come to my coaching, I'll guide you through this. Because we're going to do some tests and we're going to realize that these are the anti-pattern that you have been shining around and nobody has stopped you, have cheated you. Because this is the thing, your mama and your daddy will not teach you this. They might not even know this themselves. Right? So your mama and your daddy will not teach you this. So you got to learn this for yourself. You got to learn this. You have to be a knowledge seeker. And I call myself a knowledge broker because I'm somebody, I like to take knowledge, articulate it, and share it to other people. I'm never going to know something and keep it to myself. And the kids call it this day gatekeeping, right? I don't gatekeep information. I break information. Okay, so let's keep going. And I'm going to come back to neglecting your self-care. Oh my God. When you don't prioritize your physical, emotional, and mental well-being, it can diminish your overall attractiveness and energy in a relationship. Yes, even somebody like me that have been married for 15 years, I still take care of myself. My self-care is super important to me. I take care of myself emotionally, mentally, and physically. I work out 3 to 4 times a week. I scrub my face twice a week. I brush my teeth. I do my hair. I put oil in my hair. I moisturize my skin. I put on my makeup. And I look fabulous for me and for my husband, so that he always have something good to look at when he leave, or when he is leaving. When he's leaving, I'm sleeping. But when he come back from work, I'm sitting at my desk. He's like, "Bam, my wife look beautiful." Yes, yes, yes. When he say he's gonna take me on a date for dinner, I'm coming out like looking fabulous. I'm not feeling like, oh, since I've been married for 10 years, I don't need to look good. I'm already taken, since we like to be choosing. No, you gotta look fabulous. You gotta look sharp. You gotta look like, you just ready to be selected anytime. That's what it is. That's the game. So neglecting yourself, because some of you neglect your self-care. The last time you bought a lotion, you've been so stingy that you don't even want to take care of yourself. Some of you, like, I've been losing expensive lotion since I was 18. From the moment that I started gaining money, I was like, I got to take care of my skin. So somebody gave me the best compliment the other day, and I was like, well, somebody told me that I look 29, and I was like, bless your heart, ladies. I'm going to be 45 this year. Yes, I don't mind saying my age. So imagine 45 minus 29. She literally gave me 16 years difference. Way. Hallelujah. The body don't feel like it, though. The body don't feel like it, you're right? But don't neglect your self-care. When I leave this podcast recording, I told you I'm going to go get my nails done, my pedicure, manicure, and then I'm going to get a massage. Yes, that's what it is. You got to take care of yourself. Not for everybody else, but for yourself. But because you need to. Because when you appreciate the genuine human being and take care of yourself, you attract the right relationship. But you don't take care of yourself. You're waiting for the partner to come in your life so you can take care of yourself. No. You want a partner to take care of yourself? Do the same. Everything that you want somebody to do to you, you need to start doing it to yourself. That's the only way the person is going to take the mentor. And I've said a story on this podcast before that I love flower, and I'm married to an African man. This is not a stereotype, I'm just saying. African men, they don't understand the value of flower. They're just like, oh, it's so expensive. I don't even know what they think. But they don't feel like flowers is something they should be giving. Maybe they'll rather even give you jewelry, which I love. I'm telling you, my love language is gift. So I'll take anything, right? Not anything, but I love gift. But I love a good flower, just simply for no reason. Flower, but definitely for Mother's Day, for Valentine's Day, I might need the flower. So a couple of years ago, I always get myself a flower, So a couple of years ago, I was in a very bad car accident, nearly 10 years ago, and my life flashed in front of me. I was like, I could have been gone, And then I just had this vision of like, I will be gone. I'll be sitting there at the cemetery and people will be throwing flowers on me. And I was like, no, I'm going to start giving myself flowers from this moment. So every time I go grocery shopping, I used to get myself a bouquet. So I used to have flower in my house, and I started reading more, and I realized that flowers are just good for your self-care, for mental health, So love flower. So then I realized that I started giving myself flowers. Otherwise before it was like, oh, I was always expecting that this guy, my husband, will buy me flowers. But no, he will not. He's always find a way to not do it, find a reason not to do it. But then as soon as I started buying myself flowers, and I remember when my son was born, and I was doing a baby shower or sip and see, on the list I say, I want flower. And everybody was like, really? You don't want diaper? You don't want this? I was like, no, I want flowers. Because I know that's what my spirit really appreciated at this juncture in my life. And a lot of people did, and I was respecting the people that gave me flower. as much as the people that give me gift card or give me money or give me diaper or whatever, right? Like it was the same level of like appreciation for me. Anyway, I'm a really thankful person. But to cut the story short, from the moment I started giving myself flower like 10 years ago, my husband realized that this is a serious thing, because she can get herself a flower. She really, really love it for no reason. She was buying herself a flower. So definitely when the holiday will come and the Valentine, Mother's Day, whatever holidays, birthday, I was getting flowers like mad money. Even when he's not in the country, he became friends with like a lady that is a florist. So then he just order it and I get delivered. Like now it was not just a little bouquet, but it was not just a little branch, but now it was like, oh, bouquet, like fabulous. And I love it because I realized that, you gotta teach or nudge people into loving you, into connecting with you. You got to tell them a little bit. And if you're not doing something for yourself, they will not appreciate that it's really important for you, So this is just a simple example that, don't neglect your self-care. Take care of yourself, of your mental, emotional well-being, and that will help you attract the best partner, okay? And one of the last one, and I will go back and review all the 10 anti-pattern because they're really, really, really important. And we might just stop this episode here and come back for part 2. Lack of clear relationship goal, right? A bunch of you don't have a goal. I told you at the beginning of this podcast that one, I was in a very bad relationship that it broke up. And then after that, my goal was to just date without, attachment, just casual dating. That's what the kids call it this day, right? That was just my thing. Like, I'm not even gonna get involved crazy with somebody, just gonna be casual. Okay? Have a clear goal. And then when I say after my fast, I was like, from now on, I only want people that are good to get attracted to me. Change my goal, So if I meet somebody, tack, we check if we're not gonna be a good partner for life, we're not doing it, we just let it go. So have clear relationship goal. Without having a vision of what you want, it becomes very challenging to identify the right partner to align in your long-term desire. That's really important. All right, so now let me go back to share why some women will never find their match. The 10 reasons why women we never find their match. Okay, maybe I'll start from the bottom. Lack of clear relationship goal, 1, right? 2, neglecting your self-care. 3, over reliance of external validation. 4, settling for less than you deserve. 5, fear of vulnerability. That was mine. 6, lack of confidence. 7, low self-worth. 8, unrealistic expectation. 9, lack of personal ambition. And then 10, people pleasing. So you got it, right? People pleasing, lack of personal ambition, unrealistic expectation, low self-worth, lack of confidence, fear of vulnerability, setting for less than you deserve. Those of you that compromise on your red flag, over reliance on external validation, neglecting your self-care, and lack of clear relationship goal. All right, we're gonna stop here, and I'm going to start in the second episode, in the second part 2. Okay. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Up Your Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Lisette Zounon, and we are going to continue on our love connection episode, which is a really how do you create connection and how do you find long-lasting connection. Okay. In the first part, we were talking about the 10 anti-pattern, the reason why some women will never find love because of these 10 things that we mentioned. Okay. Now we're going to talk about mistake that women make in relationship. Attracting loser out of fear. Yes, I went there. If you fear of being alone or being hurt, you may attract partner who confirm those fear. Exactly. So it was something that I was mentioning in the first part, right? The fact that you just have so much fear that you attract actually the things that you are fearing. So get out of that mindset. Projecting in an authentic self, right? You attract what you are internally focused on, personal growth or authenticity. So what happened is a lot of women, because they are looking for a man, they are not authentic, So they're projecting a very like, oh, I'm a sweet lady. I talk with a sweet voice. I don't talk with a sweet voice. 99% of the time, I am like this, So if you are trying to attract somebody and you change the way your voice is, you are setting yourself up for failure because you are showing your unauthentic way. Falling in love with the idea of the man. Exactly. Idealizing the partner instead of accepting who he truly is. So those of you that find a man, you date him and you are dating his potential that you don't even see, or the potential that he's selling you. No. Don't date a potential. Date who you are and work together to get to the next level. Chasing a man who don't want you. Oh my God. Oh my Lord Jesus Christ. Oh my Lord Jesus Christ. Pursuing those who aren't fully invested can lead to an instant disappointment. Seek out those who value you. Really. Seek out really those who value you. Okay? It's very disappointing. Not involving God in the process. This should be the first or the last, but this is what it is, Not involving God in the process. Failing to pray or seek spiritual guidance can leave your relationship without solid or intentional foundation. Knowing yourself and adding God as the third wheel in the relationship is the most important thing. It's not your mama, it's not your daddy, it's not your sister, it's not your brother in the third wheel, but it's God, the third wheel. Everybody else are just failure. They're just working on themselves. You are even working on yourself. Your partner, potential partner, is also a work in progress. So that's why you have to find a higher power that you can believe to be part of your relationship, part of the foundation. And we started this episode by talking about the prayer that you need to do, the seeking what you really want. So you gotta already start with seeking spiritual guidance from the even looking for the partner. It's not when you find the partner now you're gonna go into seeking guidance. No, you are already seeking guidance from the beginning. Okay? Over idealizing the relationship, creating unrealistic fantasy of what love should look like can blind you for real walkable connection, right? Neglecting self-care, we talk about it. When ignore your own emotional, physical, and mental well-being, you compromise your ability to contribute positively to a relationship. Not setting clear boundary, right? Without clear boundary, you may allow behavior that undermine your self-worth and disrupt a balanced relationship. There's so much here that I can dive into, but it's going to make this podcast like a 3-hour thing. Avoiding conflict resolution, shying away from addressing issue can lead to unresolved tension that will slowly erode the connection. So go and talk about things that you want to talk about, things that are bothering you. Go there. A lot of people like to avoid conflict resolution because they want to keep the peace. But I saw this quote that say, by keeping the peace, you are actually creating the fire that's going to burst out later. So it's better to talk about it now, okay? Over dependence on your partner. Relying too heavy on your partner for emotional fulfillment can create an imbalance in reducing your sense of self-worth and dependence. That is critical. Own yourself. Be yourself. And come into connection with your partner so you guys can be two together. But you over relying on your emotional well-being on somebody else is not healthy. Now, we are going to get to the fun part of this podcast, hopefully. How to maintain your life connection. Okay? To maintain your life connection, we're going to talk about how you can maintain your life. Long-term love is built on nurturing, sustainable, a solid foundation through every stage, right? So, the first 5 years, 1 to 5, This is the foundational time. This is the phase that really set the tone for your marriage. This is about learning, adjusting, and creating a strong bond. This is what you are actually built to: open, honest, respectful communication habits. This is where you are establishing shared value, goal, and long-term vision. You're really talking about where you're going to be in the future, where you want to go, and develop spiritual, financial, and career routine together, right? This is where you're learning your love language, and you respecting your differences. This is where you're creating tradition, share experience to strengthen your bond. This is where you are supporting each other personal growth and independence. This is really the beginning. Things you should avoid here: taking your partner for granted, ignoring the small issue because then it's gonna turn into major issue, letting external influence dictate your relationship. This is it, like you. And every problem that you're gonna see here is because of something that you probably never figured out before. Avoiding crucial conversation about finance, family, and expectation, right? Now, in the 5 to 10 year range, this is the growth and adjustment stage. By now, your life is a little bit more settled, challenge already arising. So, what you should do is strengthen your conflict resolution, learn to compromise without resentment, really learning to work together, reevaluate your financial, career, and family goal together, because this might be when you start having kids, your career might be changing, your family goals is changing, so reevaluate them. Maintain your emotional and physical intimacy and growing together. Make time for quality time even when life get hectic, because life will get hectic usually when you start adding kids and your career start going a little bit further down. What you should avoid is letting unresolved conflict build resentment. That's definitely important. So it's really to get into the conflict, because the conflict is going to help you to learn about each other. Becoming complacent in your relationship, that's always dangerous. Prioritizing work, children, or external commitment over your marriage. So always think about you too, how you can continue to strengthen your connection together. Losing sight of romance and connection, those are bad. Now, the 10 to 15, the stability and elevation phase, right? So at this point, you have your routine established, you know about yourself, you are excited, your intimacy become really crucial. So what should you do? Keep the relationship exciting, plan new experience together, reinvent your connection through shared hobbies, deepen emotional and intellectual intimacy. So now it's really about emotional and intellectual intimacy. Support each other personal and professional aspiration, because now you're growing in your career. So you might change, you might pivot in your career, like I was working full time, now I'm an entrepreneur, my husband had to travel to another country. So there's things happening in your relationship. So you have to support each other. Be mindful about life pressure and navigate them together as a team. For me, that's really important as well. What you should avoid: falling into predictable, uninspiring routine. So maintain your routine, assuming you fully know your partner. People evolve over time, allowing external stressor like work, family, and finance to drive the wedge between you. This is where, things that have worked before might not work anymore. So you don't let other people impact your relationship. Now, the 15 to 20 years, I had to go do some research and bring this for y'all, because I'm just a 15-year-old in the relationship. So I need to know, how do I bring this relationship all the way to 50 years, And I was literally just listening to TD Jakes. I am a TD Jakes church member, e-church member. And I was listening to TD Jakes just yesterday, because he's giving the mental back to his daughter, and Pastor Ture Sarah and Pastor Ture Robert. And one of the things that he mentioned about his wife. I don't know how long they've been together, but I think more than almost 50 years, because he has been in ministry for 48 years. So I think he's been with his wife at least 40 plus years, right? And it's just very beautiful to see. And we don't see a lot of that these days, because people just get mad and leave each other, So I'm always curious to understand what we hold people. And I was also listening to a podcast that Michelle Obama was doing on a podcast. And she mentioned that, love is like this up and down graph, right? So if in a 50-year relationship, you're gonna get 30 to 35 years that are good and 15 years that are bad, it's still worth the project. It's still worth the project. There's still more good than bad. What's happening these days is the young people don't want the struggle. I don't want the struggle either. I don't want the struggle when I'm dating. I don't want the whole moment to be about the struggle, but I understand there will be struggle. And I want to equip myself to lessen the time that we'll be struggling and understand that there might be struggle. There might be struggling situation, but we should not struggle among ourselves. You know, like we can have kids, we can have stressful jobs, stressful career, finance situation, travel. We can have a bunch of external stressor, right? But that should not be stressing our commitment to each other. Okay, now let's talk about the 15 to 20. So that's what I am. So I'm myself going to pay attention and apply this. So this is where you're having major career. You're having career shift. You're having aging parent. Hallelujah. You're having growing children. Okay. So what are you going to do? You need to reaffirm your commitment and share purpose. Adapt to life transition with patience and understanding. Yes, because this is where I lost my dad 2 years ago, and I have to tell you that if I didn't have my husband, I don't know how I would have dealt with this, because my husband was the one that my parents called, my mom called to share the news with me. And the way he shared the news with me, I will never forget. I will never forget how he was so deliberate and so delicate in sharing this information with me so that it does not shatter me. So even in my grief, the way I was able to manage my grief was all about how the information got to me. So it's called input. His input, his wisdom, you know, the way he helped me, the way I navigate, you know, that moment in my life with the help of my husband, his family, and my family was really something that I will never forget, you know. So it's really important. Those are times where, you know, having a patience and understanding is very important from your partner. Because what you don't want is you're going to lose your parent and your partner is like, I don't give a damn. You need to cook for me, or, you know, you don't know. I don't even know how bad it can be, but I just know that mine was really great, and I'm so grateful. Prioritize health and wellness. I know a lot of people, I know some friend that was single and there was nobody there from them. You know, friend has to be there. Yes, your friend can be there, but if you have a partner that is there for you, it's even one step ahead of, you know, what you can expect. Prioritize health and wellness to ensure you have a strong future together. Yes, this is the moment where you are in your 40s, in your 50s, in your really late age, and you have to prioritize your health and wellness together. You know, as a woman, you want to make sure that your husband eat healthy, that he work out, that he follow all his health matter. I saw a video one time of one lady. She was like, I'm taking you to the hospital. Yes. And the guy's like, why do you need to follow me? She's like, no, because when I get there, I can ask the question to the teacher. That's what a partner is for. So at each stage of the relationship, your job change, right? Invest in your relationship through travel, date night, and new share experience. Yeah, this is a moment where, because the kid might be gone by now, they might be older, you're going to be back together again. So this is the moment where you really want to invest in your share interests. Mentor younger couple and pass down wisdom from your journey. That's exactly what I'm doing. So I think I'm right on time. How can I not be right on time? I love it. I love it, right? I'm so right on time. So I think I'm right on the money, because we are passing 15 years and it's just natural to feel like, yes, we have done this. We think we know what we're doing. We have some proven track record and we can now share it, because I'm telling you, I just have a feeling with people when they just have like 5 years, 7 years, and they want to talk about it. Like, bro, like, you don't even know what you're doing. Don't even be telling us nothing. You have, like, if you have not been married for like 15, 20 years, don't tell me nothing. Don't tell me nothing. Because even Bill Gates and Melinda Gates has been married for 27 years. They still left each other. Okay? And they can talk about it because they learned something out of it, right? But you little 5, 7 years, don't tell me nothing. Don't tell me nothing. No, I don't want to know. What to avoid? Losing sight of your partnership outside of parenting and responsibility, neglecting your self-care, failing to communicate about long-term goal, retirement, and legacy. Right, this is a moment where you got to talk about your future together. Where are you going? Where do you want to live in the future? What does the retirement look like? Me and my husband were talking about retirement the other day, and we were like, there's different approach. There's the YOLO approach, me, which is like live your best life. And I'm gonna bring this topic to the podcast because that's something that I'm really thinking about, the die with zero philosophy. So it's like YOLO, I want to live my best life, and then I'm just gonna retire, coast easy. And then there's the, I'm gonna grind, and then when I get on the other side, then I'm gonna start enjoying. Which one are we doing? We got to find the best comment, and that's all depending on who we are and what's going to work for this family. And what's going to work for this family is not the same that's going to work for your family. So you got to figure out together. Now, the 20 to 30 years is the reconnection phase. When the children have left the home, the career is already evolved, you are probably in your golden opportunity to rediscover each other. This is what you do. You're going to reignite your romance somehow, start dating each other again, exploring new hobby, travel, and experience together, support each other in their personal dream and ambition, because it might have changed. Now you are in your golden year. Stay physically, mentally, emotionally healthy, reflect on your shared journey, and celebrate milestone. Because now you are celebrating your kid milestone. Maybe your kid have kids. Maybe your kids are graduating for college. Maybe they're getting married. So now you are also involved in that. What you avoid is growing apart by focusing solely on individual interests, right? So you are creating a wedge between yourself and following your individual path. Believing your relationship has peaked and letting boredom set in. Complacency is always to be avoided. Avoiding discussion about health, aging, and future plan. Like, you don't want to talk about like getting old. That's when you see these old men trying to act, not at his age. I don't want to talk about somebody on this podcast, but Shannon Sharp, So you have things like that because you don't have anybody of your age to talk about that. Oh, now you're 55. Stop wearing those tie-dye pants and go do your colonoscopy and check your high blood pressure and check your diabetes. You need a woman of your age to be telling you that. When you have younger women, they don't even know what is a colonoscopy is. Now, let's get to the 30 to 40 year fulfillment page, right? This is the time to enjoy the fruit of your journey and embrace your new role as grandparent, mentor, or traveler. What should you do? Cultivate a new shared purpose, volunteering, mentoring, exploring new passion. This is really your retirement phase, right? So you probably change already your career. You probably have other purpose now. Keep your emotional and physical intimacy alive. Have open conversation about retirement plan and financial security. So this is a moment where you share your asset, you share everything. I mean, you should be sharing your asset for the longest time, but this is the moment where everything needs to be an open book. You need to have your will. We need to know who is going to get what. We need to have all those conversations. And these were conversations that I was forcing my dad to have. Unfortunately, we didn't have too many of those. Strengthen friendship and social connection for fulfilling life. This is where you got to share your love story and experience with the younger people, share because you have went through this journey for literally now, 30 years. This is a 30 to 40 year phase, right? What you should avoid is neglecting your self-care and each other emotional need, letting routine overshadow your existence, ignoring your health and lifestyle adjustment. And the 40 to 50 phase is really where it's a enduring love, commitment, and shared experience, right? What you should do is reflect on your journey together and document your love story even, deepen your emotional connection to heartfelt conversation, talk about your past, talk about what you have enjoyed in the past, stay active and engaged, learning, traveling and evolving together, creating a legacy for your family through tradition, wisdom, or financial planning. But now this is where you are really creating a legacy and already actually leaving things to your different kids and family, and actually letting your kid run anything that you got going on. Support each other in aging gracefully with joy and gratitude. What you should avoid here is thinking your best year are behind you. Embrace the present and the future, okay? Isolating yourself. That's not good. That's when dementia and all this sickness come into play. Stay connected with family and friends. Avoid important discussion about long-term care and final wishes. Yeah, this is very, very, I think we need to have a podcast on this. I think I've done a podcast before on halftime, but I'm definitely looking for a way where I can even coach people that are older on halftime. That's something that I'm gonna unveil in couple of years from now. It's on my radar. Avoiding important discussion in long term. And beyond the 50, this is like a love that have stood the test of time. A 50-year marriage is very rare and a beautiful achievement. It's built on love, resilience, and unwavering commitment. It's about cherishing every moment and enjoying the reward of your lifelong partnership. So express gratitude for each other daily, make every moment count through laughter, quiet companionship, and reflection. Take pride in the love that you have nurtured, knowing it serves as an example for others. Love is not just a feeling, it's a daily choice, a lifelong commitment, and a beautiful journey worth nurturing every step of the way. Isn't that beautiful? A lasting love connection is built on mutual trust, shared value, and the willingness to grow together. One of the key lessons I've learned is that respect is crucial in marriage. A woman should respect her husband and understand the role of partnership. Confidence plays a vital role in finding love. When you are confident in yourself, you naturally attract the right energy. So to all my listeners, take this insight, apply them to your journey, and remember, love finds those who are ready for it. Until next time, stay confident and keep believing in your unique path to love. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Up Your Confidence podcast. As always, we are bringing you meaningful, engaging, and candid conversation that will ignite a strong desire and determination in women so that they can achieve the great milestone both in personal and professional life. I'll always stay true to my mission of empowering and encouraging women to become confident and to actively pursue leadership role in workplace, home, and everyday life. I'm a firm believer that there's absolutely no limit to what women can achieve when it comes to their dream and goal. I sincerely hope that all the female listeners will take away valuable life skill, lesson, and the encouragement that they need to grow their confidence and unlock their higher potential. We hope this podcast has encouraged you on how to be assertive by effectively utilizing your voice to speak up, to speak out, and to make themselves heard. Thank you. Until next time. Bye.